My mind is a rich place. Like, I've got a rich inner landscape, and it can be so fun to just like look at a wall and think or not think. I've literally had a huge epiphany while watching paint dry. Hello, how's it going? My name's Allison. If you're new here, welcome. And today I'm going to be talking about my experience as an INFJ. And wow, a lot of little things underneath that umbrella, my experience of being an INFJ. And so, guys, grab something to sip on while you watch, and even if you don't particularly love personality typology, I encourage you to stick around because this is my favorite thing in the world to think about and talk about. It's my passion, my greatest passion in life, and so I think that at least my enthusiasm about this topic could be inspiring or fun to watch, and it's super inspiring for me to share. So thanks for being here, first of all. Thank you, Alexander, my friend who I've been talking with via YouTube for I think a couple years now. You asked me to make this video, and you're the only person who I've ever met who understands astrology and this personality personality typology together, and relates it to people's journey through life, and especially resiliency through complex post-traumatic stress disorder, being raised in a dysfunctional family, and their resilience journey. And so that is super cool. I'm sure there's more people like us out there in the world, but maybe this video will bring them around and we can all be in this little club, this cool club of a really interesting way of looking at the world. But for now, thanks for being my pal in this, because it's a big part of who I am. So thank you. And also, in thinking about making this video, it occurred to me that my greatest joy in life is understanding people. And not just like understanding them on a mental level, but feeling what they're feeling and understanding their experience so I can relate to who they are right now, and like what they're going through and what they want, and help them, you know, become that version of themselves. It's literally just a subconscious, it's like my mission in life. I don't know, it's just how I do things, it's how I live. And unfortunately, I was raised by narcissistic parents, a family with lots of narcissistic traits trickling down to myself and my siblings as well. You know, just intergenerational narcissism, addiction, dysfunction, trauma. And how that manifested in my family was me, you know, from my perspective, saying what I thought and being told that that's not right, that's not valid, that's not actually what I think, it's not actually how I feel. Actually, I think this and feel that, and this is what is right. And I feel like I love understanding people, and I was never given that in return. Still to this day, like, Alexander might be the only person who's like, wow, look at your chart and look at your cognitive functions, and oh, look at what you're doing with your life and what you've been through and where you're trying to go. Oh, I see you, like, in that full, really deep way. I've never ever been gifted that being seen in the way that I try to see others. It's a big pain of mine to be told what I think and how I feel, and that be completely inaccurate and hurtful. Like, to be told that I don't care about someone and that I hate them, and me be like, no, I love you so much, and just be totally not even given that respect, that right to have my own thoughts and feelings, and be like, yes, this is what they are, and that be heard and honored. But then further than that, me not be given like this expansive understanding that I give to others, which, you know, I don't need, but it'd be cool, you know, it'd be cool to have that. So I'm sharing that today, and very excited to do so. I'm sharing about me and my experience. So anyways, INFJ, that is an acronym. That's what that stands for, right? Like, acronym is when you've got letters that stand for words put in together, INFJ. And it's a part of a personality typology system However, it is not indicative of what my personality is, okay? It is indicative of what my cognitive process is, aka how I perceive the world and make judgments, make decisions. I see astrology taking a deep dive into your natal chart, the snapshot of where the universe was, where everything was in the universe at the exact moment of your birth, that being indicative of your personality. This is indicative of your cognitive process. So this is pretty much how you think, and your personality is what you think about. I will get into some personality stuff in this video, particular to me, but that is not what every INFJ's experience is like. My experience as an INFJ is colored by my personality, and my personality and cognitive process is colored by everything that I've ever experienced. And all of those experiences filter through my personality and my cognitive functions, which is why I love learning about astrology and personality typology, because that is just the most fascinating thing in the entire world to me. Carl Jung, I believe, was the inventor of this typology system, and Myers-Briggs has also taken it in a sort of different direction that focuses more on the dichotomies between introvert, extrovert, like where are you on that spectrum? Intuition, observant, feeling, thinking, where are you on that spectrum? And I was talking with someone who I work with, and they said, but we all feel and we all think, and that's a general thing that is said a lot to dispute like personality typology stuff and astrology. But what is meant is how you perceive and how you make decisions. Like in making a decision, you have feelings about the decision and you have thoughts about the decision. Which one do you actually heed? Because I could think about something all day long, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make a decision based on my feelings, based on my gut feeling about a thing. So that is where you fall on the spectrum. I appreciate that dichotomy view of personality typology. However, I really appreciate more Carl Jung's cognitive functions. And so each of those analograms, what are acronyms? They have 4 functions that they use most to perceive and make judgments about the world. INFJ's dominant function, for example, is introverted intuition. A lot of people who watch my channel are INFPs. Your dominant function is introverted feelings. Your dominant way of moving through the world are your emotions, how you feel. It's very different than how I move through life, that alone. And then add on all the other things and it's just, wow, like really different and really intricate and complex. I'm not going to get so much into that, but I will get into INFJ's dominant functions, because actually what was requested of in this video is how I experience NI, and how I experience NI in conjunction to FE, which is my second most dominant function. Extroverted feeling. I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of some people watching, but don't worry, okay? Just roll with it, all right? Just roll with it. So, introverted intuition, what the heck does that mean? Well, the other way of viewing the world is observation, just to put it in contrast. And that is taking something and seeing it as it is right now. Whereas intuition is more so taking something and it being connected to a lot of other things. It's pretty much patterns. And so when someone says like, oh, my intuition told me that this was going to happen, that's pretty much just like having a great awareness, a great sense for patterns, and being able to predict based on that pattern what will come next. And so there's introverted and extroverted intuition, and my dominant function is introverted intuition. It's taking things and putting them through this filter inside of my mind. I'm gonna bring out my board here now. Oh, sorry about that. I said that it's subconscious data collection that's filtered through a machinery of experience pillars. And then ideas are like a subconscious idea web. And so the symbolism that I thought of for this is, do you know that old game where like you would have like a little board and it had a bunch of pegs in it and then a little ball, and you wanted to like get the ball through the pegs by like moving it around to get to like different slots? That's how I imagine like a ball is this moment in time, and it is filtered through all of these pegs, and those pegs are pillars of things that are important to me. Pillars of I don't know if you heard that, a car. Pillars of my personality's making, choosing, of what's important to filter life through. And so for me, those are personality types, astrology, like CPTSD, resiliency, family life. And if someone like brings up some random conversation like about politics, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna filter that through like, oh, politics is important to them, not like politics has its own pillar and like system that it lands in my head, because it does, but it's a minor one. Politics like is a part of this grander web like of how society functions, like how people on an individual scale see things and how that affects an entire group dynamic and how that affects the entire world, and also like even larger than that, the world's part of this entire universal thing going on. And then what's beyond that? I know there's like stuff beyond the universe. There's other universes, right? Or am I thinking of galaxies inside the universe? I'm pretty sure there's more universes. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, far out, I have thought from minute dust molecule, mold molecule, or they're really tinier than smell molecules. Electrons, what are the smallest thing in the world? To like, oh my gosh, chemistry. When I took chemistry, I failed chemistry because I could not get over reading how small things were and thinking like everything is made up of these small things. What? I was trying to conceptualize, like comprehend this concept, and I just couldn't do it. It was mind-boggling. To me, I think people are easier to understand. And also like, why does it matter? Like, why are we worried about that? Why don't we worry about giving people human rights that they deserve? Like, why are we losing interest in that? You know, and people are getting mad about it, but in general, oh my gosh. Okay, you see, this is how NI works. It's like patterns, systems, everything is connected, and in ideas coming to mind, it's almost like a carousel. It's like everything is connected and just like very dynamic moving parts are happening inside all the time. Yeah. That was fun to talk about. Let's move on, shall we? I don't think I'm gonna get to this whole board today. Maybe we'll have to make another video. The next function that is most dominant in how I process the world is extroverted feeling. I wear emotions on my sleeve. That's the extroverted feeling of me, but that's also a part of my personality because Chiron is conjunct to my ascendant on my natal chart. I'm highly sensitive, empath, and I value harmony. And I already was talking about how my pillars in NI, my introverted intuition, is centered around FE primarily. So like how I process the world is based on like collecting data about how other people are feeling. This was like a ball going through like all the pillars. I looked like I was like one of those like dancers that can like do cool things like that. I'm looking at the viewfinder on the camera like trying to dance and like it's not working. Anyways, what I especially collect data about with other people, sounds kind of creepy, is about how they're feeling. And I think it registers just extremely subconsciously. NI aside, collecting data aside, this is just a part of how I perceive life and make judgments, make decisions, is by feeling the world around me. And so if someone walks in the room, and especially if they are in some like other than neutral state, if they are low, if they're really low, or if they're really high, like not actually high, you know, but like high vibe, like radiating energy, optimism, joy, creation, I don't know, whatever it is. Like my whole being is just like and like it reacts and changes based on that person. And I think like every empath in the world, because it's not just INFJs who feel this way, a lot of people are empathic, and this is just a way that I perceive life and make decisions is just by feeling other people's feelings and collecting data about that through my NI. And also, a thing with INFJs is this function being so dominant leads us to really, really appreciating harmony and being very sensitive to any lack of harmony. And so growing up in a dysfunctional family is really difficult, as you can imagine, because there's not much harmony going on. And where I found harmony was isolating in my room alone. And I didn't even have my own room until I was in high school. And so starting in high school is when I started becoming dissociative, when I started really losing my memories, because I would just hide and, you know, tune out, and like, I don't know, I would be in my own little bubble, because outside of my bubble, my home held so much negative energy, so much disharmonious energy that I just wanted to go be in my bubble. And ever since then, I've always really valued my space, my home. It's like, look at this. It's my space. It's my safe space. I love it. Anyone who's lived with me knows, like, I'm kind of weird about my space. But I'm gonna go into the other functions and I think call this video good for now, because I think that the other stuff will just have to be another video. What do you think? And then this is where my TI is supposed to come in. Okay, that's introverted thinking. That's my next dominant, but you know, it's on the other half. Like, there's 4 things. 2 are dominant, 2 are inferior. This is one of my less strong ways that I really interact with the world. It's one that I more so have to develop. Introverted thinking, getting my thoughts together consciously rather than subconscious, and consciously thinking through things. It's tough. It takes effort. I'd rather just let my NI do its thing. My thinking brain is usually the brain that asks a question like, oh, this video is getting too long. I think I should save the other things for another video. It asks the question and then it should provide the answer, but usually the answer is I don't know. And then it takes a lot of effort for me to like actually, you know, consciously collect pieces of intuition to come to a conclusion, and I just sometimes rather not, and I sometimes just don't. A question that I wrote as an example on my board here: what can I do to have more harmony in my life? I also wrote that my thinking brain becomes compulsive or overanalyzes things at times. For example, it being compulsive, my mind sometimes goes on thought loops where a thought will come to my mind via my intuition, and then it'll catch and just like a broken record, just repeat, and it's usually something like argumentative. And I've had to build a lot of awareness, and I have, like, that was like a couple years works ago, to stop that and be like, what am I thinking? I'm nuts. Like, what is my mind doing? Conscious thought takes some effort, but if it's working for me, sometimes it is, it's working for me, it goes okay. And then the last function of INFJ function stack is extroverted sensing, our 5 senses perceiving the world. I'm reading the board and how it presents itself for the INFJ is in extremes. So I am usually either extremely on top of my shit or it's a mess. I'm usually either extremely sensitive to like a hair on my face, or I'm like, what's going on? Like, I don't feel anything. Like, I don't know, numbed out in a way. That was very dramatic. INFJs can be very dramatic. We like being humorous in this childish, dramatic way. But also, like, music, I usually don't listen to music. I prefer to just let my NI roam, and like, just my mind is a rich place. Like, I've got a rich inner landscape, and it can be so fun to just like look at a wall and think. or not think. I've literally had a huge epiphany while watching paint dry. When I was a child, I'm just gonna go on a little tangent here to tell you a story, because I'm not gonna get to this whole board. I'm just gonna go on tangent city right now, because I love it. I love it. This is what an INFJ's brain is like. I'm trying to explain it to you. I was little, and my mom had painted the bathroom downstairs, and she was always painting stuff. She was always interior decorating, and all the rooms were kind of different. Like, there wasn't one cohesive theme, but she had a fun time expressing herself, which is interesting, because anyways, she was like talking to us about paint. She like had us come into the bathroom to like have us give our opinion or something. I don't know. And yeah, I literally don't know, because I was sitting there like with my resting on the countertop, like looking at the paint and just thinking, like, so many things happen, and I forget so many of them. Is this gonna be just another moment in time when I'm just looking at a wall, I'm gonna paint, and then I don't remember it ever again? Like, I just forget it. It's just a moment in time. It happened, and now it's gone. How weird. And I don't remember anything else that happened in that. I was lost in thought. This is how I can just see how I became dissociative, and over time how that became so unhealthy, because my brain became such a critical and self-abandoned place, you know? And so anyways, I don't like listening to music. That's what we were talking about, like in the car or just ever, because I'd rather just let my mind roam. It comes up with cool stuff. I used to like wanted to write them all down because I have such cool thoughts, but I've learned to just let them come, let them go. And anyways, when I do listen to music, like, it has to be right. Like, it has to be something that I know, otherwise it's like very stimulating to me, almost in this like hypersensitive, like too much way, unless I'm like I like prepare myself for this new experience of a new song. You know, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm very sensitive in that way. And or if it's like extremely loud music, then I love it. Like, anything that completely overwhelms my senses, and like makes me forget, makes it so that I can't do my NI or my FE or my TI. It's just like all sensory in that moment. That is almost troublesome, because I just fall into those senses and experience them so fully that, I don't know, it's wonderful, it's beautiful and great, but it has been bad, because like I shared in my anxiety video, I don't know, a month ago now or whatever, I shared a video on how I've cured my anxiety. I've come so far in my anxiety. I took anxiety medication and lost myself to that sensation of anxiety melting away. I completely I was into it. I dug it, and I lost myself. I lost myself completely into that sensation, and it got me into bad places. And so you can see how SE being inferior can be like either annoying or dangerous. And just on a more minimal scale, like keeping up with little things, like remembering to do my morning routine and take care of myself and eat, or like not eat too much, you know, compulsively. It's important to me. That is why it's SE. So I guess I didn't get into any other stuff that I wrote down. Personality stuff, intricacies of INFJ within a dysfunctional family, their strengths, their triggers, but maybe I'll make another video on it. I think I will, because it's all written down, and I really enjoy talking about this, if you can't tell. And I'd also just love to end it here talking about how it works, because then you can make parallels or perpendiculars or anywhere in between how I think, perceive, and make decisions in the world and how you do, because chances are you're not an INFJ because we're special. That's such an INFJ thing to say, okay? Anyways, I'm clearly done with this conversation, and I'm gonna get going. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna hate myself later for ending this video this way. I'm like, there's probably so much more to say, something else that I could say, but I'm I'm just gonna be done here. So thanks so much for watching. If you're still watching, I appreciate you so much. Let me know what your experience is being an INFJ or something else, anything else. Just experiencing life, regardless of what you are. You are you. You're not a human doing, not a human INFJing, not a human Pisceing. You're a human being. So let me know what it's like to be you, okay? Thanks for letting me be me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.